Back on, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest coming in where US President Joe Biden has raised serious concerns earlier in the day. President Biden hinting that the India-Middle East-Europe corridor could be perhaps one of the reasons that Hamas attacked Israel. Take a look at the statements that he made today. He said regional integration efforts led to the attack. My instinct says it, no solid proof of claim. We can't leave regional integration behind. Alarmed by the extremist Palestinians in West Bank. Attacks must be stopped now. Hamas must be held accountable is what he said. Even as we say good evening to ex-Israeli diplomat Mark Sofer and Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, who stays on with us, the former DG Infantry. Concerns are seriously being raised that is there a larger game at play. Mr. Sofer, so not just the Hamas-Israel fight conflict and this entire aspect which has been going for nearly 7 decades, has somebody propped up the Hamas to derail regional integration efforts, which Israel was also a solid part of, this conversation that was held on the sidelines of the G20 Summit in Delhi?
Well, I do believe that the normalization that has been going on in the Middle East for some time now, and the introduction of formal relations between Israel and extra parts of the Arab world like Morocco, UAE, Bahrain and others, had input into the Hamas savagery and the butchery that we have just recently seen on the 7th of October. But I would caution a little bit against seeing that as the sole cause, or in my mind, even the major cause. I think what we have seen here is butchery and savagery and carnage of a jihadist nature. In other words, to cause as much death, damage and destruction as possible. There is no thought of their own people. There is no thought of our people. All there is thought of how many people can we massacre. And that really is the ideology, is the bent, is the credo, the id and the being of any jihadist or half-crazed or crazed organization like Hamas, as is indeed ISIS. And so I would caution against looking for logical explanations and and add to that the
but
nature.
Mr. Sofer, you would also appreciate that the stockpiling by the Hamas that's been going on in the Gaza Strip has been going on for quite a while. It looked like they were preparing for something far greater over the last 3 or 4 years. That's what the indication is, given the stockpile that they have amassed. So what's the thought process, and why suddenly launch 5,000 rockets? Why would they do that on the 7th of October?
Well, I don't think it's been the last 3 or 4 years, but certainly for many months and maybe a year or more. And what you actually do see is that the millions and millions of dollars that have been going into Gaza district, into the Hamas, have not been used for healthcare, have not been used for education, have not been used for bettering the welfare of the situation of the Gaza population, but have been used to dig underground tunnels, stockpile massive weaponry, and indoctrinate half-crazed lunatics to enter into Israel just in order to kill and maim. So yes, that has been the situation, and I do agree with you that it has been some time in preparation, and certainly long before any thought of discussion of normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia, etc. But I do agree with your premise that there has been an input, and that is maybe what brought around partly part of the timing of the 7th of October, but also the fact that they saw Israel as being internally divided as well, which is something that they completely miscalculated, because Israel as a society is now more united than ever.
General Sanjay Kulkarni, this entire realignment, Saudi, Israel, UAE, Jordan getting involved, India getting into the picture, America playing a helping hand and connecting all the way to Europe, this would have irked China, Iran, Turkey.
Definitely, Anand, there's a lot in it. Firstly, because when we talk of the integration, even for the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, for that, the kind of facilitation being provided by US to get Israel and Saudi Arabia close, because the Chinese played a big role in getting the Saudis and the Iranians close. So this entire project required a lot of goodwill. Otherwise, this project can't just take off. In any case, this project would have taken off. It would have taken not less than a decade before it is to be done. But if you look back a little, 2008, 2012, 2014, 2021, 4 attacks by Hamas and also in between by the Israelis on Hamas, on Gaza, which led to almost 3,500 Palestinians dying and a lot of Israelis also losing their lives, is indicative. Same kind of action. Rockets being fired, you have artillery duels from this side and the thing. And then what they did on the 7th of October, without going into the past, let's forget about the past totally, but whatever that be. So the 7th of October leads to one thing. First, complacency by the state of Israel for reasons probably they felt that they were trying to appease the Hamas group. The number of work permits that went up from 3,000 to 30,000 per day is indicative one. Second, of course, the festive day that we were looking at. Third, the intelligence failure, not from the point of view, the intelligence is still coming. The very fact that Mossad can target each and every individual of the Hamas leadership being knocked off is indicative the intelligence is coming. But probably the Hamas also took that it would, and they never expected the retaliation would be so strong that
the retaliation will be stronger, sir, but the point is that there seems to be a new multilateral axis. There are hands behind in the shadows that are operating. We've got to wind up, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm just going to check if we have time to just show you the latest intercept. Okay, we will keep that. We'll park that for later. For the moment, winding up this edition of The Right Stand. Thank you to our guests joining us and thank you, viewers. But do stay on. Brass Tacks with Zaka follows.